Broken Lizards are back, and Farva's getting married. Oh my. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of Super Troopers 3, the latest in the Broken Lizards franchise that is once again directed by Chandrasekhar. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the Super Trooper Broken Lizard crew are back, and this time Farva is getting married to, of course, Thorny's sister. That's a pretty chaotic thing in its own right, but it is what it is. So, in the process, not only is Farva causing chaos for Thorny's family, but in the process, the other Super Trooper members, in which include Mac and Rabbit and Foster, are dealing with their own situations. Of course, Mac is having to want to jump this gorge with this electric vehicle car. Rabbit is doing what Rabbit does, and then Foster is dealing with Ursula, who he is now broken up with, who's now kind of seemed to be interested in this new kind of rookie cop that is by one of the cast members from SNL. And on top of everything, he, the Brian Cox character is, of course, retired. He shows up every couple of seconds. And then we have, of course, Nate Faxon, who is playing the new chief, the new captain of the Super Troopers crew. And it's basically taking different forms and factors of the original Super Troopers movie, adding in some updated content and dealing with everything from racism to a mystery to a bunch of other things. But it is very much Broken Lizards coming back to what made them famous, which of course is Super Troopers. And then on top of everything, you have Chace Crawford's in this movie. Of course, that's the Deep, from of course The Boys. And it basically mostly focuses on Thorny trying to stop Farva from getting married to his sister. And then of course you have Thorny's family, who very much love it's chaotic. So that's what Super Troopers 3 is in a nutshell. It's just Broken Lizards coming back to this franchise that made them very popular and having Farva get married and the chaos that ensues in that. So there you go. So I'm a huge fan of Broken Lizards. I love Club Dread. I love Beer Fest. Beer Fest is actually my favorite film of their series. Of course, Super Troopers is a lot of fun. Super Troopers 2 is a lot of fun for what it's worth. But them going back to Vermont, them going back to kind of the nuts and bolts of what made them very famous, and having them play their characters that they played in the third movie now, it made me excited to see this movie. I'm not saying that it was going to be the most anticipated movie I've ever seen, but it was a movie that I was looking forward to because I like Super Troopers and I like Broken Lizards. It's nice when they ever come back and stuff like that. This time, bringing in people like Nate Faxon and so on and so forth. So the question remains, and the one you're wondering is this a step above, of course, the second movie that came out? And how does a group of older men now in their 50s, closer to the 60s, play out in a movie like this? Well, I do definitely have to point out that Broken Lizards are an acquired taste. They are, very juvenile in their humor. They are very raunchy. They go places. They try to be like Monty Python in a lot of respects by doing crazy stuff, but they know what they are. And once again, they prove that they're very, very funny, but they're not going to be for everyone. And this movie shows it. I mean, it has the absurd storyline of Farva marrying Thorny's sister. I mean, it's crazy. Thorny's sister is, of course, played by the character who's, of course, a New Girl. And then, of course, watching Farva like try to kind of play into the family of Thorny and how that plays out. And then on top of everything, how funny it is, the set pieces, the jokes and the humor, and watching Thorny try to break it up and how it goes south and all that good stuff. It's to me personally very funny and very humorous, and it's stupid. I get it. It's not for everyone, but it is this Broken Lizards humor, and they do it very, very well. But then you watch Mac try to deal with the EV car and trying to jump the gorge, and that becomes kind of his story arc in the movie. And then on top of everything, how the car just has a Canadian accent, and it's really stupid. It's really weird, and it plays very, very much like the Broken Lizards are known for doing. So you will come to understand what that role is. And then on top of everything, you have Foster, who's dealing with the breakup of Ursula and the kind of fallout of that situation, how it plays out, and how Foster thinks that the rookie cop is kind of having a relationship with Ursula, and just kind of how that plays out and how funny it is and how stupid it is and how misguided fosters belief in what's going on and how that eventually plays out. And then I think the character that gets the least amount to do in this movie is Rabbit, to be fairly honest. I don't know why that is, but there's just not there for him. It's mostly focused on like 2 stories at most, like two, somewhere around there. So that's kind of where that lands. But once again, it's a movie that you kind of have to know going in that this is very juvenile in its material. It has a lot of radar stuff. You know, there's a point where Farva is wearing just a t-shirt and you can see his butt crack and stuff like that. And then, you know, a lot of the Nate Faxon stuff when he gets really drunk and high and stuff like that. I laughed. I think it's funny. I think it's funny that Brian Cox is willing to come back, even though he's like the most grumpy person in the world, and watching him try to keep himself busy now that he's retired. And all of it just builds into like another mystery. There's a thing going on with, you know, drugs and stuff like that. So they can't not have that type of stuff in their movies. And it's pretty much what it is. It's another Broken Lizards movie. It's another Super Troopers movie. But I do definitely think this is a step up from the second one. I don't think it'll ever compare to the first one, which, you know, has some of the like greatest jokes in history when it came to like a liter cola and meow and stuff like that. But there's enough here. It's very funny. It's enjoyable. It is not for everyone, but it is if you like Broken Lizards. And I think Chandrasekhar is a pretty decent director. It's a very flat looking movie. It's not like the greatest looking movie in the world. It feels very low budgeted, but it has what it has and it does it very well. So that's my take on Super Troopers 3. It is in theaters, so definitely check it out. And I'd be interested to see what you think. So with that said, in the comments below, what is your favorite, of course, Broken Lizards movie? Once again, my favorite, of course, is Beer Fest, which actually had Nate Faxon in it, which is pretty cool. So I'm glad they brought him back. But let me know. But otherwise, thank you so much. If you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out, guys.